And we're joined now by Krysia Pasko, the creator of the fake online store, and standing by for us in Warsaw. But first, let's speak to Caroline Peters, creator of the Coded Words helpline in Cape Town. How did that question to you first? I want to hear, Caroline, about your project first. How does it work?
Hi. So what we did in Cape Town, we have a donut that is called the Cook Sisters, and everybody knows in Cape Town that's one of or something we all have. And so we started by doing that. So you would order donuts from me, but it was not an order for donuts. It's exactly like my colleague. It was for help. So you would ask me, do you have donuts? And I would say, yes, send me your address, we deliver. Because remember, at the time, we were all on a hard lockdown. Women were locked in with their perpetrators. And so once I have your address, then I start chatting to you. But I also would know when you're in imminent danger, you would ask me, what is the price of the donuts? So I would then establish contact with you. I now have your address. And then when you ask me what the price is, I know we need to move right now. So there was a few of us as women on the Cape Flats that also, if the police took too long, we would be able to respond because we served as frontline workers. And so, yes, it went viral across Cape Town. In fact, across South Africa, it was used.
That is absolutely fascinating. And congratulations on coming up with that idea and helping people. I want to cross to Poland now. Krystyna, how did your online fake shop work?
Hello, everyone. Our online shop works like a normal shop. We pretend to look like a normal shop on Facebook. And but on the other side of the screen sits the psychologist specialized in crisis intervention, and the psychologist using a code, pretending that we are sellers in a cosmetic shop, asks questions. For example, how is your skin condition, or how your skin reacts to the alcohol? How can we help you? Do you need some special cosmetics, and so on? And using this code, we are trying to get in touch with domestic violence victims and to know in the type of the situations that in what exactly situations they are, and if there is a need in the case when a person makes an order, we are able to call the services. So
Fantastic project, Krysia. Really incredible to hear how that works. Back to you, Caroline. Do you think domestic abuse generally increased during the lockdowns?
Yes, for us, definitely. And I think all across the world, it was the same. Our numbers for our gender-based violence hotline increased. I mean, we saw in 1 week, we would see 1,000 calls up to a week. And so, in fact, it increased by 100%. Our numbers definitely increased. And I mean, for the UN to call it a shadow pandemic, and it was a pandemic right across. So remember, women were locked in with their abusers. So abusers that would normally, women would have that reprieve during the day of going to work. And on the Cape Flats, where we are in Cape Town, there's a lot of gangsterism. So, of course, women were now locked in with gangsters who couldn't operate, who couldn't sell their trade of drugs. You must remember, in South Africa, we had alcohol ban, we had cigarettes ban, which caused even more anxieties within the household.
Thank you. And Krysia, is that what you saw also, that domestic abuse genuinely increased during the pandemic?
Yes, for sure. Domestic violence increases due to the pandemic, and world statistics says that it's around from 30 to 40 even percent of increase the cases of domestic violence. So it's really large number. And also we observe that in the times when there is when the pandemic is going up and there are more cases of coronavirus in Poland, so then we observe in these times that more people wants to contact my shop and wants to enter in need and need to be helped. So we see that the pandemic has an impact on amount of domestic violence cases.
Back to you, Caroline. How do you think your project helped women?
It made a huge impact, especially for women in communities, in rural areas. Services, remember, with lockdown, services were closed down. So women's movements were restricted. So it meant that women like ourselves that works within the communities, we had feeding schemes set up, but the feeding scheme also then started serving as a support group for women, and we would operate on a network of women warriors. We called ourselves the women human rights defenders. And we would operate, so we would have support groups for women. So women would be seen like they would be coming to the feeding scheme, and that is where we would lend them support. We would tell women to get to the feeding scheme as if they were going to get something for the family to eat, and we would go around there and pick them up there and take them to the safe shelters. So the project definitely worked and paid off, yeah.
That's excellent to hear. And a question to you, Krista, why, you used Facebook, Caroline used WhatsApp. Krista, why couldn't women just call the police? This is a question my colleagues and I have been discussing.
Yes, the answer is really simple. On one hand, it's really easier to write on a chat than to call, because from other room we can hear that someone is talking about the situation. And on the other hand, especially for younger women, for younger people, writing a message is more natural. It's more natural way of communication than making a call. It's more natural for the ones who are not so young, but especially for teenagers. We in my shop lots of teenagers and suffering from their parents, from their families, and for them Facebook is more natural way of communicating.
And that question to you, Caroline, our last question: why couldn't women just pick up the phone and call the police in Cape Town?
Same thing, and exactly like my colleague said, it's easier for them to they couldn't speak from the line next door or couldn't speak. With WhatsApp, I think it was also more accessible. Remember, even police stations were not manned like they were working on skeleton staff. So the response from us on the WhatsApp group would be quicker. And we would respond in a way, in a different manner, because we were sensitized around gender-based violence or domestic violence, whereas the police had many other matters to see to.
Okay.
They were policing, COVID protocols and so forth.
Congratulations, both of you, on these excellent projects and on how much you've helped women who are in need. Caroline Peters in Cape Town and Krista Pasko in Warsaw. Thank you, ladies, so much.